Hey, good evening, freedom-loving patriots. This is State Representative Brad Halbrook, and we are joined with Representative Chris Miller, the chairman of the Illinois Freedom Caucus. Welcome, Chris.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thank you all for joining in this evening. This is a safer alternative to the Super Bowl halftime show, which if it's not going on right now, it's real close. But anyway, it's great to be on here to talk about some things that went on last week and looking into a snapshot of what to expect this week.
Excellent, Chris. Yeah, you're right. And, we started this Sunday Night Live stuff back up last Sunday night and proved to be a safer alternative to what was going on the show, the Grammy show. Boy, there was some wild stuff there, evidently. And this is a
Oh,
safer,
my.
smarter alternative to that. And then, Chris, we held a live town hall. The Freedom Caucus had a live town hall in Arthur Thursday night. That was a safer, smarter alternative to the State of the Union show.
Oh,
Chris,
my.
how'd that go in Arthur? Give our listeners, our viewers, a little highlight into what happened, what we kind of discussed, and what it was like in Arthur last Thursday night.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's always good to be at Yoder's Country Kitchen during dinner time. That's one thing that's always a bonus. You know, the fried chicken is always really good, and the coconut cream pie is one of my favorites. But and the food was good, but the conversation was really even better. There was 100 plus patriots that are concerned about the direction of our state, and the gun grabbers that just can't seem to leave us alone down here where we live. It was great to have our newest member, Jed Davis, down for that, as well as Adam Niemerg and Blaine Willhauer and my good friend Brad Halbrook that is hosting this evening, as well as Dan Caucus. And so many people came out, and they were pretty doggone fired up about what's happening in the state and some of the tyranny that we continue to see with J.B. Pritzker and his gang of radicals.
Yeah, exactly right. And it was a great evening, packed out house, great food, great fellowship, great fun. We heard from Mike and Belinda Rowe. They've kind of led the charge in Illinois for our Second Amendment rights, and they gave us a great update on kind of what was going on with gun litigation. And Chris, if I'm right, is there 4 TROs now that have been issued across the state? Is that correct? 3 or 4 anyhow?
Well, that's my understanding, and the thing that is very frustrating is just the amount of taxpayer dollars that are being wasted in what we all know is an unconstitutional gun grab on the law-abiding citizens of the state of Illinois. When you think about it, I was kind of rolling some things around in my mind the other day, and I was thinking, what have the radical Democrats and J.B. Pritzker done to improve the life of just the general citizenry of Illinois? And I'll tell you what, that old grab bag was pretty doggone empty when I got to trying to come up with something, and I still haven't come up with anything.
Well, exactly right. He has, it's just been interesting, and we've got another 4 years of it, and it's even going to be more interesting. But it seems like this radical agenda they seem to do is finding themselves in court, Chris. I mean, the Safety Act is still being litigated. This gun stuff's being litigated. The stuff that they did with the alternative energy sighting there a couple of weeks ago during Lame Duck, I fully expect that to be litigated here this spring. Just a lot of stuff to be litigated. And they just seem to be kind of like empowered by that, right? Full throttle ahead.
Well, I think that we're seeing why they call it lame duck session. I mean, that duck is limping into every courtroom that it's finding, and it's losing every time. That poor duck's in trouble.
Exactly right. Hey guys, we like you tuning in. If you'll let us know where you're tuning in from, we'd love to have you leave us kind of your town in the comments. That would be great. Hey, Chris, I'm just kind of looking at my list here. We have got a lot of stuff to talk about here tonight on the conservative campfire where, truth, logic, and common sense prevails. And I guess I didn't give that warning ahead that if you're a little sensitive to truth, logic, and common sense, this may not be for you for the next 20 or 30 minutes. But hopefully everybody that's plugging in here is going to be okay with that, Chris.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, you would think so. I'll tell you what, the here in the state of Illinois, common sense isn't quite so common as we would like to think it should be.
Exactly. Hey guys, I just want to bring up here real quick. I have got a town hall by myself that I'm doing, and Chris and I and Dan and Blaine and Adam will do one. We're going to pull a graphic up here on the screen. This is one that I've got going tomorrow night. Will be in Effingham, and if I can make the electronic wizardry work right, here is actually an RSVP link that you can go to. You can scan that with your phone, and you can find out all the details about the Effingham Town Hall that I'm hosting tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. at the Effingham Public Library. And we'd love to know that you're coming. So again, if you would be so kind, you can take your camera right up to that QR code and scan that, and you can find out all the exciting details and get RSVP to that. That's just something that I'm doing. Senator McClure was with me Monday night in Shelbyville, but can't be with me tomorrow night. But we'll have two more of these on the next following Mondays. Senator McClure will be back as we kind of crisscross across the new 107 and kind of introduce ourselves to everyone and kind of give everybody kind of an update to what's going on. So if I can get rid of that, Chris, see how that works. And then
And
also
anybody can come to this, right?
anybody can come to that one. Now I'm going to pull up the graphic that we've got coming for Thursday night. Chris, this is is this your district or was your
Yeah, I
district
mean,
still?
yes, I know it's a little bit confusing because the radical Democrats are really good at drawing maps without straight lines. I mean, it takes a real different skill set to not have a straight line or right angle on the map in Illinois and come up with it. But yes, that is in my district, and so we're going to roll out the red carpet for you. We had got a great evening planned of information and fellowship. One of the greatest things about these town halls we're doing, both in person and online, is to be able to connect with other like-minded patriots that are concerned about the failed Pritzker policies and the failed direction of our state. And hopefully during the process, we'll give people hope that there is an opportunity to, if we stand up and speak up. I mean, maybe the first thing we should do is wake up. But if we do those three things, hopefully we can chart a different course in the future. We didn't get into this mess overnight, and we probably aren't going to get out of it overnight. But got to take one little baby step at a time and move the dial.
Right, exactly. Now, Chris, we've got another big event. It's not really our event, but we're a part of it, right? By being a member of the General Assembly. On Wednesday at high noon, Governor Pritzker will give a combined State of the State and budget speech. Chris, you sat through a couple of those with this governor.
Oh,
What do you
my.
think he's going to talk about come Wednesday?
Well, this is what I know is that I am convinced that they shouldn't be holding this meeting at the state capitol, but they ought to be holding it down the street at the local Burger King, the home of the Whopper, because I got a feeling that they're gonna serve us up Whopper after Whopper after Whopper, because
Right.
one thing about this administration, they can't tell anybody the truth because they haven't done a doggone thing to help anybody except do more taxing, do more borrowing, do more spending, do more regulation, and running more people out of the state of Illinois because of their bad ideas.
Exactly. Hey guys, we're going to try something new here tonight. I've got a couple of tickets. They allow each one of us representatives to have a pair of tickets to give to our constituents. We're going to try something new here tonight. I'm going to have a little drawing for my two tickets. Chris, I don't know if you've got somebody with your two tickets or not, but if you will text SOX TIX, TIX to this number, 217-293-2723. And I'll put this in my e-news. It'll go out tomorrow. The not stateside e-news will go out in the morning. This number will be there also. And so we're going to put a deadline of this on 6 o'clock tomorrow night. If you will text SOS TIX to that number, and then I'm going to draw a name out of there Tuesday morning. Now, the caveat is this is at noon on Wednesday. So you would need to have the entire day available to come to Springfield. You'll probably want to be in Springfield by 10:30, 11, so that we can get you the necessary ID badges to get in. And then we will try to add a couple of things to it to make your day time well spent, seeing some different sites around town and things like that. But this is something new that we're going to do here, because with the beauty of the technology and the live stream, we just want to kind of throw it out there for folks. Now, preferentially, I'd like for you to be in the 107. So that would be kind of a prerequisite that you would have to live in the new 107. But if you will text me SOS TIX to 273-292723. And Chris, any thoughts about that? Have you got a home for
Well,
your tickets yet?
no, I haven't, but I think that's an excellent idea. And I would gladly, if you've got an overwhelming response to that, I would be glad to throw my 2 tickets in there. Plus, I would be happy to just let you sit in my seat, and I'll go do something else that might be a little more productive. Maybe we can get some pizza and sit in the back room while JB's lying to us all.
Yeah, it's just going to be an hour. I just can't imagine what that hour is going to be like. We have sat through that before. He talks a lot of strange things, but yeah. So anyhow, if you want to be a part of that, we'll let that number scroll across the bottom for a bit longer. Chris, I'm trying to look what else we've talked about. The town halls.
Well,
We've
we're going to
talked.
have some press conferences this week, most likely.
Right. So we'll
I
probably have
think.
a press conference on the budget speech, probably right after that. So look forward to that. And then I think also we had a great energy press conference Thursday afternoon. We've put that out on the Freedom Caucus webpage, and I'm going to pull up that address here real quick. Yeah. So there's our Freedom Caucus page. You can find that. You can find those press conferences all on our social medias. And hopefully we're also going to talk about education funding a little bit.
Yeah.
Chris, I don't know if you've been a part of that. I got on the Education Appropriations Committee this year for the first time, the K-12 education funding, and what an eye-opener that has been.
No, I mean, what I know about it is just the conversations that I've had with you and Blaine, and the interesting line of questioning that you guys experienced the other day when you were in your committee asking some questions about that I heard that maybe uh, pixie dust and stuff like that was being floated around. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was sure and interesting. There was 6 school superintendents came in. I was curious why they were there, but Chris, it only takes about 90 seconds to figure out why there's a group of people in front of you testifying about the virtues of the evidence-based funding program. And I know this comes as a shocker, and I hope you're sitting down. They were asking for money.
Oh my.
And
Well,
yeah.
I don't know how they could educate a student for $19,000 per pupil. I mean, that would be a real hardship for most institutions.
Well, it is, and kind of giving everybody kind of a peek into what we're going to talk about this coming week as we talk about press conferences. We want to highlight the fact that one of those schools that was before us uh, is not very far from where we are, and you're right. They're spending $19,000 per student, and the bizarre thing about it, according to the Illinois State Board of Education's website, okay. 3/4 of their kids cannot read or do math at grade level. And
Yeah,
just
it's pretty. I mean, I don't know whether these people are shameless or what, but I would be embarrassed if I was doing that poor of a job and then come back and ask the taxpayers for more money. I'm not exactly sure what that magic number is that they can finally turn the corner and actually graduate kids that can read, write, and do math. And because I mean, the way it is now, it's almost like that they ought to issue a certificate of attendance rather than the expectation these kids are actually educated.
right. Well, and the 19,000 of the 6 schools that were before us, that was the highest. I think they range from 14,000 per student up to $19,000 per year. And we don't know exactly, but we know that that doesn't include any debt service and maybe some other
Mhm.
things that they're not including in that. So if there's a school that has any amount of debt, that's not factored into that number. So that cost to educate students is even greater than that, which is more stunning. You know, guys, the evidence-based funding formula that was put into law about 5 or 6 years ago um, uh, actually kicks in supposed to kick in 350 million new dollars, and what they were asking for when they were up there was that 350 plus another 200 million. And I simply asked the question. I said, You've got to help me understand why you have record spending, record amounts of revenue flowing into your schools from state and federal sources. You know, Chris, the coronavirus dollars, these schools have
Mhm.
reaped hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars from federal sources over the last couple of years. And they've got a majority of their students that can't read and do math at grade level. You know, you got to kind of help me understand that. And they basically said, Representative, we don't understand your question.
Oh my, that may be part of the problem right there. If they can't understand what your question is and they're in charge of educating the children, there's a problem here, Houston, I think.
Well,
Hmm.
and 5 of the, folks that were there, had PhDs after their names. So I don't know, maybe I don't know. We'll drill into this more Tuesday as we go back to session on, back to Springfield Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and,
Well,
we'll have another committee hearing, Tuesday afternoon.
you know what the rednecks down here call that PhD, don't you? Piled higher and deeper.
File higher and
What
deeper. Exactly,
I have
exactly,
no idea whether that's true or not, but I'm just repeating the story that I heard. But this
exactly.
this is the real problem, and that's the reason why it's important to have education reforms. That's the reason why we need to adopt some of the same things that they've done in Iowa and Florida and other free states where the money actually follows the student. The only thing that's going to fix education is competition. There's actually competition for our hard-earned tax dollars that we give the state of Illinois to educate our students. But as soon as there is competition for those for educational dollars and that money follows the students, I tell you what, everybody's going to clean their act up and they're going to
Right.
start teaching the kids. All of this woke agenda goes away, and we're going to actually have education where kids know how to read, write, and do math, and all of this woke crap goes in the toilet where it belongs.
Exactly, and I think that's a big issue. I would, ask anybody to tell me where competition doesn't make everybody better, right? Competition drives up the quality of the goods or service, and it drives
Mhm.
down the cost. And,
That's right.
to have a government monopoly, on such a system as education, I think is a thing of the past. Um,
Mhm.
you know, and so we'll drill into that more in the coming days and weeks, but this is a really important, I mean, Chris, this is nearly on the state budget, this is nearly a fourth, this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest line items, nearly $10 billion that the
Mhm.
taxpayers of Illinois is putting into education. And I don't know about your constituents, but I'm pretty sure we're all going to agree. When you've got 3/4 of the kids that can't read and do math at grade level, and we've got record spending, something's got to be fixed.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think that that's one of the great things that COVID did is shine the light, and the cockroaches are running to the corners and looking for a little darkness, because a lot of parents didn't have any idea of the lack of education that's actually going on in the classroom, the increased indoctrination that's being pumped into the minds of our kids, and with a radical leftist social agenda with transgendering and mutilation and all the things that
Mhm.
the usurpation of parental rights.
Right.
I mean, the list just goes on and on and on, and it's time for the adults in the room to hold up their hands and say, "Stop! We aren't doing this anymore, and we need to be moving towards a more productive solution." and a more productive methodology of actually doing the things. I mean, we're doing the kids a disservice by allowing them to think that they're educated and they get out in the real world and they can't even function or balance a budget, or which they haven't had very good examples of that. But when you get out in the real world and you get married and you own a home and you do all the things that are necessary to survive in our culture and be productive, you better have those life
Right.
skills that you're able to apply to be a productive citizen and a positive contributor to our culture.
Well, and that's exactly right, Chris. And this is not fair to the students. It's
No.
not fair to their families. This is not fair to the communities. This is not fair to future employers, and it's not fair to the taxpayers of the state of Illinois. I mean, those
Mhm.
results are just dismal at best. And I believe that you're working on or will be filing some legislation, and it'll be part of the legislative agenda of the Freedom Caucus, Chris, to where the money follows the student,
Yeah.
not the system.
I know that we haven't filed it yet, but I know that our bill writers are getting the language together to mimic what they've done in Iowa, because they just passed, what was it, 2 weeks ago, last week, that they passed legislation where the money actually followed the student. The only thing
Right.
down there, their money following the student is a little more. I'm not sure, a little more in line with the results, because I think that they were about $7,500 per student,
Right.
where in a lot of cases we're up to 19 and even higher than in some areas. And so, but yeah, we do have a bill out there, and I would think that it would garner bipartisan support, especially when in a lot of cases, some of these smaller rural school districts haven't lost their way. And I would say that, probably by and large, a lot of people are happy with what's going on there. But I know that in the inner city and the bigger places, the parents have to be pulling their hair out and be extremely frustrated with what's going on in their schools. And I would think that they'd be ready for a change.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Hey guys, I want to just go back to this little thing we're doing here in getting ready as we transition to our kind of our last subject. I want to remind everyone about the drawing that we're going to have for our secretary, or I'm sorry, the State of the Union event budget speech on Wednesday. I've got 2 tickets. Chris has got a pair of tickets. If you will text SOS Ticks to the 217-293-2723. We're going to cut that off at 5 o'clock tomorrow evening, and then we'll announce a winner Tuesday morning. This is going to be for the middle of the day on Wednesday. You'll just want to make sure that you have the day available, and Chris will make sure that we'll make their day worthwhile as they
Yeah.
come over to that. So, yeah. Chris, I want to kind of talk about a bill that Senator Chapin Rose introduced this week. I'm trying to find, here we go. So we've actually got a little poll going on, and I'm going to pull up the graphic here. And it's you go first, Chicago.
Yeah.
Chris, I know we're just kind of getting this on the run here, but Chris, what do you know about hey, Chicago,
Well,
you go first.
well, I know that we've had a lot of conversation about this as what a lot of people down here refer to as the city that's up there, but they are very happy for us to have thousands of acres of solar panels and wind farms. And so I know that Chapin has this bill where, when you think about it, leaders should go first. And if this is such a wonderful idea, I would think that they would wrap their arms around this bill and just hug it to death. And because I know that Chapin's got that bill, and I know that I've got the Green Chicago bill that my bill writer's still working on. And we just want to return the blessing to them, because we've been blessed so much by the people in the General Assembly. the Chicagoland area, as well as a few of the wanderers from our side of the aisle too, that embrace this bad idea. But my brain, my Green Chicago, green is a acronym, and it's for green renewable energy everywhere now in Chicago. And what that does is it lines the shoreline of Lake Michigan with windmills, and they write songs about the Windy City, and they say the wind always blows in Chicago, and what a perfect place to have windmills. We're getting about a 300-foot setback from the shoreline, and a lot of those guys up there on the Gold Coast, when they wake up, they're going to think they're in Holland, and that would be such a blessing for them. But I know between Chapinville and Myville, I think that we can just add a lot of good cheer and goodwill to the city of Chicago and help them to go green. I mean, what more? What could be better?
Right. Exactly. So it's SB 1867. You can find it at ilga.gov. This is a synopsis. You can find it there. If you'll scan this QR code over on the side of the screen there, and that'll take you to my page. It'll have a little more explanation. We got a little poll going on with that right now. And Chris, I think we've got Representative Dan Caucus here. I'm going to see if we can bring him in. Dan, are you there?
I'm trying to find some light. Yeah, I'm trying to find some light. We're out here watching the Super Bowl tonight. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you fine. Dan, what's the status of the Super Bowl? Is it going well? Give us an update.
Well, Philadelphia's doing well. They put a little strain on, finally got to Patrick Mahomes here in the second period. So we're looking forward to the second half.
What's the score?
Hell, I don't know. 24 to 14. 24-14. Philadelphia scored a field goal with time running out in the half. Okay. So it was 21-14 and then a field goal. So 24-14. Yep, that's it.
Green you have on there?
That's it. A little green and gray.
Okay. That matches your mustache.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I knew I should have stayed inside.
Hey, Dan, we kind of started talking a little bit earlier about our Thursday night town hall we had in Arthur and what a success that was. And also we was talking about the TROs. And I believe now yours was the third TRO that got issued there in Macon County. Is that right?
Hang on a second. Yeah, we had we were the third TRO, and then Tom filed again, so now there's 4 of them. One of us has got to get to trial. Okay. And that's where this all goes. We've got to get a permanent injunction or a determination of some sort. Right. And so we've got to settle this once and for all.
Well, hopefully that happens sooner than later. I know there's multiple cases that have been filed in federal court dealing with this, the right to bear arms, the Second Amendment. So I don't know if any of those have hearing dates yet, but it looks like that's going to be in Marion. Is that right? Maybe where that's going to be heard?
I think so. And the state of Illinois asked for some extra time to respond to the lawsuits. I think they have 4 or 5 of them down there now, and maybe more to come. So March 1st is the deadline for the state to respond to the lawsuits that were filed. And then the federal side they'll be headed towards, a hearing as well. So we're on a 2-track system. We have the state court where we're challenging the lawsuit on the Illinois Constitution. And then we have the federal court where they're challenging the law on the Second Amendment.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right. Hey, Danny, I know you got on late. I know you wrapped up. You're probably there with a big group. We just want to remind everybody about Thursday night. And this great town hall that's going to be in not Effingham, sorry,
No,
in Mattoon.
Mattoon.
don't send them
So,
to Effingham.
yeah, well, Effingham's mine tomorrow night, but we've got this group one that's called the Central Illinois Town Hall that we will have and Chris, just give us a reminder of the location of where this is going to be.
Well, it's going to be at the brand spanking new Hilton Garden Inn, just east of the Mattoon interchange there on Interstate 57. If you get off there and go towards Charleston, it's only going to be maybe a half mile or so down there. Turn south on the Lerner Road, and you can't miss it. Go around. It's kind of a little bit of a trick to get in, but if you turn south on the Lerner Road, that's how you get in there. Go up a little bit and take a right and follow the signs, and you ought to be able to get there.
Excellent. Excellent. Dan, anything else that we need to let our folks know before we let them go here this evening?
No, I think this is a big deal coming up in Mattoon. I don't know if you want to kind of put the word out about the Urbana fundraiser we've got coming up later.
Yeah, we may talk about that Tuesday night or next Sunday night. We'll get that out. I don't have any graphics or links to anything to get to folks, but that's just kind of maybe folks might want to put the 24th. Dan, that's a Friday night, an event going to be in Champaign. So we'll get just kind of save that time slot.
Jupiter at the Crossing.
Jupiter at the Crossing. Excellent. 6 o'clock probably, 5:36, 6:30. What's kind of?
I think it's at 6. I'm not sure, but it's a Freedom Caucus fundraiser. So that one you'll need to get a ticket to.
That will be a ticketed event, and we'll get stuff out to everybody about that one here in the coming days. So yeah, guys, anything else before we sign off?
Yeah. Hey, I've got one more thing. Is this is a shameless self-promotion for the Illinois Freedom Caucus, but in order to stay informed, you can go to IllinoisFreedomCaucus.org and also on our Facebook page. Like that and share it and help us get the word out because it's we're continually fighting a lot of different what do they call that when they shadow ban you and try to limit your exposure, but we're fighting that all the time. So if you could go on our website, and even if you feel compelled to, you could even click the donate button if you're really feeling brave and let the Spirit lead you. But we need your help to fight the fight, to be out on the forefront, to be the tip of the spear on a lot of these things. We're willing to take the arrows, but we need to know that good patriots out there like y'all got to have our back because it's a continual fight.
You are exactly right. And, we kind of kid about the trying to overcome the big tech overloads, the algorithmic gods, if you will. So your like, share, following, and subscribing to our content is one excellent way to do that. So we covet that if you guys would be so kind to do that. Guys, anything else? And we're going to say goodnight.
That's all I got.
Excellent. Here we go. See you in Springfield.